Love it.
Hey, Super Brendan.
Super Brendan, Dr. Bitchcraft himself.
Wait a minute. That sounds like an insult, bro.
No, we didn't agree. We didn't agree on these nicknames beforehand. Oh shit, almighty. Yeah, it's just us two today. Have we ever done a show where it's just us two?
I don't believe so. Ever.
This will be fun. Or a train wreck. Probably both. That's what
It'll be a
happens on the Suplah.
it'll be a fun train wreck.
Indeed. Welcome to the car crash, ladies and gentlemen. There's a couple of things that we have to talk about this week in the wrestling world. Well, what do you think we should start off with? Is there anything major that you think you need to get off your chest, Brendan?
Oof. Well, see, I've been having problems at work lately, and oh, you're talking about wrestling related stuff to get on my chest. Okay.
Oh, yeah, I mean, we can do group therapy later. We pay extra for that.
All right, I definitely need it.
But we'll. So, if we got nothing on Brendan's side, let's talk about something important that we missed last week. WWE have announced an all-women's pay-per-view event. I don't know if it's a pay-per-view anymore because fuck pay-per-views, we have the network. It is a special event happening in October, if I remember rightly. I need to get the details up, but it is now known as WWE Evolution.
Why that name?
Because
I
they
don't get.
really like to really hammer it home that this is an evolution of women. The women's evolution. They're evolving into creatures beyond human.
The only thing that confuses me about that is where I work at. There's a DVD already called WWE Evolution, where it has women's matches and all that. It's just like a 3 disc set of that. So that's going to be real confusing once the pay-per-view Evolution DVD comes out.
And not only that, there is the infamous stable Evolution, etched in history.
Yeah,
We're talking about
Evol-
evolution.
Evolution better show up to this event just for no reason.
That's the twist, right? You think it's going to be an all women's pay per view, and then swerve, out comes fucking Triple H, Orton, and Batista. It's a
Evolution
rehash.
is a mystery, and they're probably
It's
going to
the
wheel
new
Ric
evolution.
Chair out in a wheelchair or something.
If even possible, yes. I would actually love to see that. But no, this is an all women's show. They have confirmed about. They haven't confirmed the names, but they've said they're going to have at least 50 women performing on this show.
50, goddamn! How many
Yep.
multi-women matches are those?
I'd say about over half the card in all likelihood. They're going to be defending the Raw Women's Championship, the SmackDown Women's Championship, and even the NXT Women's Championship.
Oh damn! They're going to get any
And
tag belts or something?
well, this all stemmed from an announcement on Raw. It was tweeted out a couple of days before last Monday that Stephanie McMahon was going to be in the ring announcing a new women's thing, unspecified. And everyone
Hmm.
immediately thought, okay, this is either going to be a pay-per-view or it's going to be tag belts. To the point
Hmm.
where they had the belt guy on Reddit. There's a guy on Reddit who posts on the site a lot. He makes wrestling belts, also for WWE sometimes. He's
Hmm.
made women's tag belts.
Hmm.
So they exist in some form. They just haven't shown up yet. They might even be crowned at this new pay-per-view, but we'll see.
Hmm.
Point being, everyone thought, oh, it's either going to be a pay-per-view or it's going to be the women's tag division. And it turns out it was a pay-per-view event. One of their monthly shows is now going to be entirely revolving around women.
Like they don't have enough of those shows.
Exactly. Here's the kicker.
Hmm.
This was a big announcement on Raw to kick off the entire show. You had all of the rosters out, both of them, Raw, SmackDown, both of them just out on the entrance ramp,
Hmm.
the very top of the
Damn.
ramp. You had all the men at the back, and you had all of the women at the front. Now, there's not a problem with that.
No.
Clearly, it's an announcement for women, and then women should be at the front. Yes, that's cool.
Yeah.
What I don't get is why, after this pay per view concept was announced, all of the women, regardless of heels or faces or anything like that, characters that don't like each other, they all started hugging and crying.
That
As if they were all friends backstage or something.
no, that can't be. Carmel and Charlotte totally hate each other.
Yeah, Becky has so many friends, but
And
not the Iconics.
and Alexa hates everybody.
Yeah, I mean, even her only friend, Nia, was gone now. She has no friends at all, except Mickey James. But
And
no.
that's a very on and off again at random.
Yeah, totally on a writer's whim, no less.
Yeah.
But basically, they did it out of kayfabe. They did the exact same thing that they did when they announced the women's Royal Rumble, when they all raised each other's arms and hugged.
I don't, but that sounds very cringy. It seems like
Yeah,
they should do stuff like
yes,
that on the internet instead of
cringy.
on show.
Exact. This is what WWE does, but fucking confuses me all the time. Why do they treat these announcements as part of the TV show? Because
I
on the
don't
TV show,
get it.
all the women have characters. They are not the performers. They're the characters that hate each other or
Right.
work with each other. Why break kayfabe on the TV show when you could instead do, I don't know, a press conference like
Right.
other sports, like the football or the basketball or the combat sports, maybe?
Oh, because that would be too practical and smart.
Nah, that'd be a waste of money and shit. Like,
Right.
let's see what the chat is saying. We have Sussy Hayaku who says, "Good thing for the first ever historic, all women's first historic pay per view landmark." Yeah, as if they're really going to drive this home, but it is a first. It is a women's first. Everything with the women is a first. Nothing has ever been done with women before. Ever.
They're worse than the fake Sports Center page I follow on Facebook talking about like LeBron James is the first person to make this many shots on this many nights consistently while the temperature was 83 degrees Fahrenheit outside at 6:55 at night. It's like they get real specific to the point where it's like a first. It's
Yeah,
like,
literally. Like I've been watching the NFL recently. Carmine's gotten me into it, and just throughout games, I'm randomly saying like, "This is the first time a pass was made when the wind was going that way." Like, how
oh
the
my
do you
god,
keep track of all of this shit? Who's
I don't,
bookkeeping this shit?
I
Just
don't
have
know. But these
one
people are
dude in the
ridiculous.
office at the back who has no friends, like round glasses and tomes of books, just being like, okay, the wind is going this way today, and it is a different time, and oh, Blake Bortles never did that before. Mark it in the book. Like, what the
That's,
fuck?
that sounds like Andy.
It is Andy, probably, and now they've moved him to WWE, where he's just like, oh my god, the women have never had an entire show before. This is ridiculous. The women have never had this match before, or this match before, or this championship before.
A woman's
They are
never walked
women
down. A woman's never walked down the side of the ramp at this particular time ever in this point of history. It's
in
bizarre.
those boots.
With those
Right?
laces,
It's
that
fucking
sole
weird.
made out of that material, while the lighting is
Mm-hmm.
just so precise like this.
It's fucking weird, bro. And they're gonna keep hammering this point home, like, guys, women. And do you know women? And we're all gonna be like, yeah, you're a bit behind on fucking society because for the longest time, well, past like, I don't know, 5 years or so, women have been gaining more rights, I suppose. But WWE has these self-inflicted things where it's like, oh yeah, women are just sideshow attractions. We're gonna call them divas and all that shit. They're breaking down barriers that they themselves have put up, and we're supposed to commend them for it and to
Yeah,
pat
for no
them on the back
reason.
for it for no fucking reason. It's dumb. But anyway, more people are saying it annoys me that in kayfabe it was Stephanie's idea to have an all-women's pay-per-view. Yep, that's the thing as well. It was all
Yeah.
Stephanie. Stephanie created women. That's the narrative they're trying to push. Because she's involved with
Uh,
every major announcement, every big thing. She commentated on the Women's Rumble match, and she wasn't the worst, but she was still weirdly bad.
she
Like,
didn't need to be there at all.
no, it's almost as if she had nothing to fucking do with any of this because she's been in a
No.
position of power for like, what, 10 years longer? 2 years almost?
Yeah, and Triple
Yeah,
H has
two
done more stuff than
decades.
she does.
Right, Triple H has done more stuff, and yet Stephanie's in the family by blood anyway. But no, back in 2002, when the women really needed some representation, what was Stephanie doing? She's doing the same thing that the other women were doing, just with the big badonkahoos, the big clonkadonkaboos.
Yeah, and then she joined the
Bending
guy
over.
that made fun of her badonkadoos to fight against her husband.
It was just the same old shit back then, even. And now we're supposed to fucking hold her up as this pillar of women's evolution, when really, what the fuck has she actually done here? Other than wear high heels higher than any women on the roster, so she appears like this tall, imposing fucking Bondre, the giant figurine. And
She's
it's
trying
just like, it's
so.
all me. It's all my idea. Me, Stephanie. The only woman to have ever existed before now.
She's trying so hard to be like Vince, like have Vince created WrestleMania. This is her WrestleMania. It's just like, love me, Dad. See, I did this just like you did.
Yes, exactly. And like, go back to the point where they had all the women out. They even had Nikki Cross out there, who hasn't debuted on the main roster yet.
Oh damn, they did. I forgot all
They
about
just
her.
got every single woman who was backstage. Like, hey, the one who makes the coffee, yeah, come out here. You're getting celebrated. What, for making the coffee? No, for your kind. What the fuck is this? Doesn't make
Like,
any sense.
this is a gender party.
Right,
Gang,
exactly.
gang,
And
gang,
even
gang.
Alex King says, imagine if the men did that. Yeah, remember that shit? Remember when it was like the first ever all men's pay-per-view? And Braun Strowman hugged Roman Reigns. Like, no,
Right.
it's dumb. Just because they're women, that doesn't mean they should drop their fucking characters whenever a historic announcement is made. Sure, you can play into the fact that it's a historical announcement, but do it in character. Have the heels on one side and the faces on the other side. Put a wall between them. Put Braun in the middle. Just do something to, like, maintain that sense of, I don't know, kayfabe. Like,
If
this
any,
isn't a fucking TV show.
if anything, they could have just had Stephanie come out, announce it, and then we go from here. We didn't need to see all of that, like at all.
Right.
She could just come
Literally,
out.
they could have
Hey, women are
just
doing
done.
this. They're doing that. Here's a women's pay
Right.
per view.
Here's how I
That's
would have
it.
done it. I would have broken it as a WWE.com article, and then, like, before Raw, like maybe a day before Raw, and then they'll treat it like, oh, look at this breaking news that has all of this press coverage because we've had a day to prepare. You have ESPN reporting on it. You have Fox reporting on it because, I don't know, we leaked the announcement 24 hours beforehand on our own website. And then that way, you get a bit more hype drumming up. You get some ratings boosts on Raw. And then you get all of the women acting in fucking character because this isn't the first groundbreaking announcement and everyone's acting all fucking surprised. Like, oh, we're all women at the end of the day, right? Like, no, you fucking hate each other. You have
Right.
characters that don't like each other. Don't celebrate the fact that you are the same gender just because you're getting an all pay-per-view now.
Yeah,
Like,
you proceeded to not like each other right after the commercial break.
I love this idea that they're really pushing Stephanie as like at every focal point of every women's revolution in history. Like Sussy Haiku says in the chat, did you know that the only reason Rosa Parks didn't move seats on the bus in 1955 was because Stephanie told her not to move?
Yeah, that's the real truth. That's what black
Remember
people
that
have been hiding
time
from y'all.
in the suffragettes when Stephanie laid down in front of that horse and got women the ability to vote? Like, no!
Remember when
She's not.
Stephanie gave Joan of Arc her confidence? Remember that?
Remember when she gave her the sword that made her think Jesus was talking? Oh, that was great.
That wasn't.
Draven G says,
Hmm.
did you know the only reason women won the right to vote was because Stephanie was leading the charge? Yes, Stephanie did it all. It's not Adam and Eve, it's Adam and Stephanie.
It wasn't Susan B. Anthony on that dollar coin. It was Stephanie McMahon with a different
Right.
hairstyle.
Exactly. And while we're at it, the Ultimate Warrior was a paragon of virtue and not a bad man in the slightest.
Exactly. He wasn't homophobic at all.
And also, Hulk Hogan, what racism? Ah.
Yeah, brother, nigger, brother.
Jesus Christ, like, I mean, don't get me wrong, this makes me look like I'm not excited for the pay-per-view. I'm excited for the pay-per-view because I'm a fan of the women. Who isn't, right? If you're not a fan of the women in this day and age, you're just fucking weird. Don't watch wrestling, right?
Right.
But, I don't know, I just hope they book it all, like, with purpose, rather than just being like, this is historic. We're doing this because it's historic. Like they did with fucking Charlotte and Sasha with the Hell in a Cell shit. You remember that?
Yeah, they're going to be doing that. I know they are the entire 3.5 hours.
I hate it, but I'm gonna watch it anyway because that's what we do. Okay, Bullet Club and versus the Shield in the chat just showed up and said, "So is anyone going to complain about how Charlotte is over pushed?" Yeah, this is bullshit as well. Because
Yeah.
let's go to like this week in the WWE, like on SmackDown. We'll talk about SmackDown first because this is a point. Last week Becky beat SmackDown Women's Champion Carmella in a match to get a championship opportunity at SummerSlam.
Mm-hmm.
So the number one contender pinned the champion to become number one contender.
Huh.
Bullshit, right?
Right.
Right. So then cut back to this week when Charlotte returns and is like, woo, I want to be in this match, woo. So then they're like, okay, fight Carmella, the women's champion, and if you beat the women's champion, you get a title shot with the women's champion. And guess what she fucking did?
What'd she do?
She just beat Carmella.
It's also
So now it's a triple threat at
SummerSlam
with Becky vs. Charlotte versus fucking Carmella, who has been pinned twice.
But Asuka couldn't beat her.
But fucking Asuka couldn't beat her.
Asuka couldn't kill her.
Do you see? Do you see? Do you D? Do you E? The problems here.
Why the hell
am I going crazy,
Charlotte...
or is this just problematic?
Why couldn't Charlotte have fought Becky Lynch? And if Becky wins, it's still 1-on-1. Charlotte wins, it's a triple threat. Or she just takes Becky's spot in the first place.
Right. It's almost as if Charlotte was beaten for that championship multiple times, clean or otherwise. And as soon as she comes back from her breast surgery, she's like, I want to be in. And they're like, yeah, fuck it. Just beat the champion and you can have a shot at the champion.
Not the other challenger to make it easier on yourself. Beat the champion.
I have no fucking sense of, I don't know, contendership. Just put her in the match because she's Charlotte Flair, the women's equivalent of Roman Reigns.
Whoa.
Fails getting the fucking title, but keeps getting title shots repeatedly because he failed at getting the title. Don't understand it, my dude. I don't understand it.
I'm so tired of both of them. I want both of them to stay gone for a while. Like,
I mean, don't get me wrong. I both enjoy them as performers, but their booking is dog awful. Her and Alexa, like, they're both fucking awful booked. Like, Alexa doesn't take any fucking bumps and she beats people too easily. She buried Bayley to the point where Bayley has still not recovered. And she fucking beats everyone to become the women's champion multiple times. Charlotte, great wrestler, phenomenal athlete, one of the best in the women's division. But she's really booked too fucking hard. She comes back, beats the champion, and gets a shot at the champion, which she'll probably win because Becky doesn't do shit in championship matches. Not to mention, Becky was on a winning streak before this. For like 2 months, she racked up a winning streak, and then that got her a chance to be number one contender. But Charlotte just has to turn up, and she gets a shot at the fucking championship. What is the point?
Oh, it's because her dad is Ric Flair. You know, that thing that she didn't want to be known as when she first came in.
Right, exactly. It's like Alex King says, Becky beats every woman on the roster for the last few months. Charlotte breaks her boob and she becomes number one contender.
Pretty much, yeah.
I don't want to say it like that, but fucking that's what it is.
Yeah, you got to do that. Just, if you're ever faced with I can't speak. If you're ever in a very bad situation.
But yeah, all the negative, like, booking things aside, the fact that the women are finally having a pay-per-view, I think is good.
It is good. But
I just hope they can fucking write the stories for it without forcing it and just booking it all terribly.
You know they're going to force it. They're going to force it down your throat through like a fucking funnel.
They love doing that, just like they did on Raw, because Brock Lesnar turned up for the first time in 5 years, it feels like.
Yeah, you sure it wasn't 5 years?
Probably. Let me check my fucking diary.
Right.
So the Brock came to Raw, but he didn't Brock didn't go out in front of the crowd. He stayed backstage the whole time reading hunting magazines.
Of course he did, because the Brock does what the Brock wants.
Exactly. But Brock says, and he he had this storyline going with Paul where Paul Heyman had to like make him come out, otherwise Paul Heyman would be fired.
Why not just strip Brock of that belt though? Like Kurt Angle said, he beat him for a belt one time. I'm pretty sure he could just take it from him. He's in
Maybe, but
charge.
Kurt is old and crippled now.
You sure about?
So
Well, he
can't
probably
beat
is
him.
now after what the hell Brock did to him.
Yeah, definitely. Alex K in the chat says, but Brock says, I don't watch Raw. Why would I watch Raw?
The Brock
But
says,
Brock has a point.
it doesn't matter if I show up on Raw. Oh,
Oh god. But yeah, that was literally like in the first segment he was in, he's backstage hiding, and then Paul comes in after Roman Reigns cut a vicious promo and he's like, Brock, did you see that? And then Brock is like, I don't watch the show, Paul. Why would I watch the show, Paul? Like, he's just burying the own fucking product at this point because the main champion won't even watch it. And I get it, all right? Before we continue with any of this, I get it. They're making Brock seem like he doesn't care about the company or the championship or the fans, so that when he goes away, Roman will be cheered. I get what they're doing.
it's not gonna happen though.
Well, I imagine at this point it probably will because they're finally going full fucking ham with it, but at the same time, I don't care still. I just want Roman to have the belt so we can move on and do something else because I'm bored of Brock in every fucking sense of the imagination. But
yeah, I never thought I'd say that about him. Like, I've been wanting Brock to come back for so long. He finally came back in 2011. Skipped some years. Now this shit's happening. I'm just like, oh my god, Brock, just stop holding the belt hostage.
right, exactly. It's not
You see,
even like fucking Japanese New Japan Okada holding the belt for 2.5 years.
I'm pretty
It's
sure he
not
was
like
still on the
that.
show though, right?
He was still at every fucking show. He was putting on 5-star matches with practically everybody. He defended it like 13 times in great defenses.
Yeah, Brock
Now
wins. He
Brock,
goes home and he shows up for $500,000 every single time, which is probably why he doesn't show up as often.
when the company does weekly shows and you have a champion, a main champion, really, ideally, he shows up every fucking week. If you only did pay-per-views once a month, you could maybe let it slide that the champion shows up to those and those alone. But that's still the bare minimum you expect, surely. But now Brock just never shows up.
Yeah,
Goes for months at a time. Like, the championship now has become a #1 contendership. Like,
that's all
whoever is
people
#1,
fight for.
matches are not to fight Brock. They're not with Brock. The matches have meaning because you get to fight Brock in 2 months when he shows up again. Like, it's backwards as fuck. Remember when you had #1 contenders matches and then you had the actual #1 contender fight the champion at the pay-per-view like every time?
Yeah, the good times when wrestling made sense, and I really
Even when
didn't
it's
mind
like with
watching it.
Shinsuke and AJ and they do it like repeatedly over the course of 3 months, at least it was being defended, at least it was there.
You
Brock doesn't
saw
even
it.
turn up. You saw it. The Universal title is garbage at this point. It hasn't meant anything at any point ever. And it sucks.
Yeah, at this
Really
point,
sucks.
it's just a fucking replica that Brock carries around at this point until it shows up
I
on
wouldn't
Raw.
be surprised if he just fucking left it at home and he only carries around toy replicas now.
Or he just goes up to the merchandise stands at every single show he shows up to. It's like, oh shit, let me get this belt, let me get the side plates, and I'll just screw this shit in myself. It's like, just give me like,
Yeah,
give me like 20 minutes.
Exactly. But yeah, as I was saying, Brock isn't Raw, and the gimmick is that he doesn't want to come out or anything, but Paul really needs him to come out because he'll be fired otherwise. You get to the end of the night, and Paul is like begging for his job with Kurt, and Kurt is like chewing out Brock, being like, the champion should show up, da 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 da, whatever Kurt says. And then Brock comes out, finally. And then F5's Kurt Angle. So that's good. And then he chokes Paul Heyman. Just being like, you see this? You see this, Paul? And then he just like puts his leg on him and shit, and it's like really uncomfortable. Because
Yeah.
they set it up earlier in the night. They set up a segment where Paul was like, Brock, at least come out there as a friend. Do it for me a favor as a friend. And then Brock is like, we're not friends, Paul. We've never been friends, Paul. You're leeching off of me, Paul.
Yeah,
And
he
it's
always
like,
has, but you had no problem with it Until tonight, apparently.
Literally have no problems with it until now. Like, why now? Why do you have a problem with it now,
Yeah,
Brock?
he's
Is it
been
because
leeching
you're
on you
being
since
written to be
2012.
disliked?
He's been leeching on
Right.
you since 2012, since you came into the damn business. And
Even before then, like, for fuck's sake. It's
yeah, hell,
almost, it's so transparent, but they're writing Brock to be like, you should hate him. You need to hate him so that you like when Roman beats him. Not gonna
why not
fucking
just
work.
no? I mean, I still like Brock. I like what he could do in the ring. I hate that he's been forced to just become a fucking suplex machine now, and
Yeah,
not in the cool way that Taz was or Kurt Angle was or even Benoit, R.I.P. But he's just the suplex guy. German suplex, belly to belly suplex, German suplex, and then three F5s, and he wins.
exactly. The worst part is we know he can do so much more, but he
Right.
just doesn't because he's there to get paid. He's not there
Yeah.
to entertain.
God. I wish to see Brock be like how he was back in the day. He can still do all the shit that he could. Probably not shooting star press. He has been able to do one of those since OVW. But
Mm-hmm.
but goddamn.
Alex King in the chat says the Brock is an ultimate heel. He ordered a medium well steak. What the fuck? Yeah, he says that he likes his steaks medium well, and everyone hates him for it, and I don't get why.
So is so am I a heel then? 'Cause I like my shit medium well.
Apparently, if you don't like your meat raw, you're a bad person.
If you yeah, it's almost as if I don't want to catch fucking tapeworms. Or
It's
that I
almost as
don't
if I want
like
to be able to digest this shit.
yeah.
Says
Like
Brock, the man who had diverticulitis.
a
So yeah, let me eat this raw meat, says the Brock. No, the Brock has gut problems.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know,
Just
like,
make the shit
just
well done. Either way, it's
just a
gonna be
bit of
ruined,
fun, but I feel
apparently.
attacked now for my meat preferences.
Oh, sorry that I don't like blood in my food,
No, you gotta
or
have it
that,
raw.
or that I don't like it burnt. It's like there's no medium. That's the point of medium well.
That's how we
It's
do it in
cooked.
America. We eat it raw. Blood.
See, like, uh,
Isn't that fun? Yeah, apparently everyone likes it medium well. Like,
we're a country of vampires. Then
we're
it seems,
evil people for eating cooked food.
yeah, like evolution isn't against this. The whole point of
Exactly.
us being able to cook food is a good thing. That's why
Sussy
homes come
Haiku
with
in the chat
ovens.
says, how come when Jinder came to Raw with the US title, he said he wanted to be treated like Brock? And Kurt says he will defend the US title when Kurt says. Double standards.
I want to be treated like Brock,
Pretty
get
much.
paid $500,000 to sit at home and look at my belt all day like I
Show up.
already do.
Like, I did some digging on Reddit about this, because I just like learning more about WWE wrestlers, and if
Mm-hmm.
these comments are anything to go by, they could be complete bullshit, they could be made up, but it's fun to entertain the idea that it's completely real. This dude knows a lot about Brock based on interviews and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just an insight into his life, and I want to read out some of these Reddit comments because I feel like they could be fun. So here we go. Here's the first one. Brock has said if he's not farming, hunting, or fishing, he's watching programs on hunting and fishing. If he's not doing that, he's banging his wife, playing with the kids, and breaking their beds in the process, jumping on them given his size, or practicing with his guns.
Sounds about right.
So he hunts and he shoots guns, but this is where it gets even better. This is the part where I was like, that can't be real. That can't be something a real person does.
He hunts and he
It says
humps.
this. To get him on the phone, you need to call his wife, who then tells Brock to drive to the payphone at the end of his farm's road, and then he'll answer the call there. He apparently destroyed a bunch of cell phones, throwing them around, and his fingers being too big for the buttons on most of them anyway.
What kind of cell phones is Brock Lesnar using in the year 2018 where he doesn't have a touchscreen?
More importantly, how big are Brock Lesnar's fucking hands? Bigger than touchscreen buttons.
And also, why the fuck does he have the last payphone in the world?
He has a payphone at the end of his farm. You have to call Sable, being like, I want to speak to Brock, please. And then Sable then tells the Brock to go to the end of the Brock's farm, and then Sable then tells the Brock to go to the end of the Brock's farm, and then Sable then tells the Brock to go to the end of the Brock's farm, and then Sable then tells the Brock to go to the end of the Brock's farm, and then Sable then tells the Brock to go to the end of the Brock's farm, and then Sable then tells the Brock to go to the end of the Brock's farm, and then Sable then tells the Brock to go to the end of the Brock's farm, and then Sable then tells the Brock to go to the end of the Brock's farm, and then Sable then tells the Brock to go to the end of the Brock's farm, and then Sable then tells the Brock to go to the end of the Brock's farm, and then Sable then tells the Brock to go to the end of the Brock's farm, and then Sable then tells the Brock to go to the end of the Brock's farm, and then Sable then tells the Brock to go to the end of the Brock's farm, and then Sable then tells the Brock to go to the end of the Brock's farm, and then Sable then tells the and then ring the fucking payphone, and then you can do business with him there. It's like,
The Brock needs quarters to use his own payphone just to fucking talk to people when he doesn't want to talk to people.
like, there's more about it in this particular comment. You need to call his wife to speak to him. He'll drive out of his estate and wait for a call. If it doesn't come within 10 minutes, he'll drive back up his farm road and won't come back to answer it that day. You'll have to reschedule for tomorrow with his wife and have to apologize for wasting his time and fuel the previous day.
God, he just sounds like a douche. I love Brock,
He
but
sounds like a literal king from like the 1500s.
But even the king wouldn't drive himself. He'd have someone else drive him.
He'd have his servants do it. Brock is a self-independent king, apparently.
No, Brock's just a very strong knight with no kingdom alliances. He shows up to kill whoever, whenever he feels like it.
This is the best part. Brock doesn't like using cell phones. He breaks them easily and hates the buttons. He is also apparently a bit of a conspiracy nut in regards to the Patriot Act recording calls, so he only takes incoming calls to the payphone at the end of his farm's road, because he believes if he keeps the calls under 3 minutes and only about business, it won't raise any flags. Anything else he prefers to discuss in person, eye to eye.
So Brock
Lesnar sounds like a mental person.
No, watching this show, that sounds exactly like The Wire. So Brock Lesnar is a drug dealer. He is a
and the drugs that he deals are suplexes, apparently.
Yeah, he's a fucking drug dealer. He has a payphone. He keeps the calls very short. He only answers phone calls from a payphone. He's a fucking drug dealer from the year 2002.
But he lives in modern day world and he deals out suplexes.
And he has the last payphone ever.
That's the best part. You have to call someone else and then call a payphone to reach him.
Do people even know the numbers to payphones?
This isn't the Da Vinci Code. This isn't some fucking Enigma shit you need to crack in order to speak to Brock Lesnar for under 3 minutes and only about business.
Oh my god. Brock Lesnar is Stranger Bell, almost. He's Stranger Brock.
But the thing is, the Brock can do whatever the Brock fucking wants because he's in such high commodity with either WWE or the UFC. Like, people always have to jump through hoops for him. He doesn't have to do shit to anybody.
No. But
he just does things the way that he wants, and apparently the way he does things is fucking crazy.
You know what? Given how his teeth look, I'm not surprised that he's really fucking crazy.
Don't even. Like, that gives me fucking heebie-jeebies whenever I look at that photo of his teeth. Like,
all that money and all this time, he never once fixed his grill. Money ain't changed him. I'll give him that.
Money did something to him, I'll tell you that much. But yeah, that's an insight into the Universal Champion who has been champion for what feels like an eternity. I've wanted woman. I wanted woman to win forever. I've wanted Roman Reigns to win this belt since before this year. I just want him to get it so that we can move on and do something different that's entertaining.
Right, I've been wanting this for at least 2 years. That's probably why I've fallen off of it so far.
Right, I can't blame you.
I'm just not sick of seeing. I'm just sick of seeing. Well, not seeing the belt that they hyped up for so much for an entire month, and it's like, hey, here's a Universal title. Oh, the first champion got injured. Let's give it to Kevin Owens, where he bitches and moans all the time. Then let's give it to an old man named Goldberg, and then Goldberg's about to leave. Let's let Brock kill him for it and keep the belt until he feels like letting it go.
It's so fucked. The first champion vacates it after a day because he gets injured during the match where he won it. Okay, bad things happen. He comes back and he wins it, right? Nope. Still hasn't done shit. Still hasn't had a rematch for it.
Nah, he talked about it, but he hasn't done anything. This has been, what, a year?
Yep. 2 years. It debuted in 2016.
But not like since he came back and talked about it, it's like, I'm back for the Universal title. Nothing. Now he's fighting Discount Kane.
Fucking That happened. Then they give it to Kevin, and everyone's like, "Oh, Kevin Owens!" And then he gets booked to be Chris Jericho's best friend, and the title doesn't really mean much because it's never defended clean.
And it's
Not
always against the
once.
same one guy,
Not
Seth Rollins.
once was that title defended clean. It was
No.
all fuck finishes for like 230 days or however long he had it. And then Goldberg!
Bill.
Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Goldberg.
It's like a Tarantino film with this belt's history.
Doesn't make any sense. Goldberg defends it once and loses it in the first defense to Brock, who has held it now for like 500 days.
And he's fought 5 people in those 500 days.
He's fought like 5 people. Okay, he's fought Roman Reigns. He's fought Braun Strowman. He's fought Samoa Joe. He's fought Kane.
He's fought AJ. Not for the belt, but
not for the belt. Not for the belt. Don't count.
All right, cool.
So that's 4 people. Who are we forgetting?
No one. I really think there's no one that we're forgetting. He hasn't fought.
No, it can't be that.
I'm almost sure that he's only fought those 4 people. He's just fought 2 of them multiple times. Actually, no, he's fought 1 of them multiple.
Oh my god, I think it's not even 4 people.
Yeah, I think he's only fought Roman like what, 3-4 times?
6 times.
Oh, 6. Goddamn.
Because there was that fatal 4-way at SummerSlam, which also involved Braun and Joe, who he fought individually before.
Yeah. Oh god.
And Kane was in that triple threat.
4 people in 500 something days.
People, are we forgetting anybody? I feel like we're forgetting somebody.
I'm almost sure we're not, because
he never defended it against Goldberg, so that doesn't count.
No, because Goldberg just fucked off and went to the Hall of Fame. He doesn't have to do anything anymore.
Was Joe Samoa Joe? Was he the first person to fight Brock for it? That doesn't sound right.
Nah, I think Braun was the first one to fight him for it, then Joe.
I need to look this shit up because I'm not sitting here and I'm not taking for a fact that Brock has only fought 4 people in the span of over 2 years. This doesn't make sense. For the belt.
I'm almost sure he has.
Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar. I can't spell. I'm that angry. Oh my god. He hasn't even fought Cena. Like, okay.
I would love to see him fight Cena one more time. As long as it's not like Match of Champions.
He beat Goldberg for it. He beat Goldberg, so he now has the belt. We're at 0 now.
Yep. On the count.
The inaugural defense was at Samoa Joe. That great Balls of Fire.
Oh yeah, that one. That's one.
It was a fatal 4-way against Roman, Braun, and Joe.
3 people.
3 different people. Fought Strowman at No Mercy. That's the same person.
Yep.
He fought AJ Styles, but it wasn't a title match, so it don't count.
Nah. But even if it did, that's still 4 people.
Even if he did, that's still 4 people. Then he's been in a triple threat against Strowman and Kane. So that's 4.
Yeah.
And then he's been fighting Roman ever... It's literally been 4 people.
Yeah.
Literally been 4 fucking people. I didn't think of that until you said it.
I didn't either.
He didn't fight Rollins at any point. He didn't fight Balor at any point.
The same.
Oh my god, he only fought 4 people in like a year and a half.
I have more fingers on my hand than Brock Lesnar has fought people in the past 2 years. What the hell?
Oh my god. People in the chat are saying, like, Jericho said on his podcast, but it was supposed to be Jericho versus Owens at WrestleMania for the Universal title, but Vince changed his mind after Brock convinced him to give it to Goldberg. Joe was first, Kane was there, 4-way at SummerSlam, it was Braun. We never got Brock versus Balor.
I wish we did. Kind of. I kind of wish we did.
I don't even know what to think.
Just flip the world upside down.
I know what to think. Get the fucking belt off him. That's what I'm thinking.
Seriously.
My God. But anyway, so for like
Four.
this for the sixth time in human history, we're getting Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship at SummerSlam.
You
That's
know
what we're
what?
getting.
You know what I want to see now? I
What?
want to see a picture of the four horsemen throwing up their four, and then all their faces have been replaced with Brock Lesnar. How many people have you fought, Brock?
Oh,
That's all it is.
oh my
He,
God.
he gets the Infinity Gauntlet. He's only got 4 stones, and it's the four people's faces that he's fought.
Because he's not showing up to the movie where he gets the fifth one.
Or the 6th, if
Right.
it ever exists. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. So
Yeah,
everyone's
yeah,
on a
it does.
stone. Yeah.
Oh my
I got
God.
the thing about Roman. I didn't know that. I feel dumb.
Yeah, everyone thinks because five fingers, five. No, it's 6 stones.
Yeah, because he's
But
got one like right here.
there's more Infinity Stones than there are Brock Lesnar's opponents for the WWE title, Universal title, whatever it is. Oh boy! But
Should
anyway,
he should be Biggie Langston from 2012. 3 ain't enough, man. I need 4.
not even five.
Nah, just 4.
Fucking hell! So the Brock is shitty, and we know that. But in other news, obviously we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the deceased, the unfortunate passing aways that we had this week, pretty much in wrestling. The biggest one probably being, other than Nikolai Volkov, who is a legend I don't actually know much about, so I can't really say much about him. I don't know if you do, Brandon.
I only know his name from old wrestling video games, and it's so weird I knew how to say his name before I knew how to pronounce weird words like his name. I was like a kid when I
Yeah,
first
exactly.
I was like, oh, Nikolai Volk something, and then the next time I saw it, I got it right. I was like, oh, huh, that's a cool name.
Yeah.
Never heard of him.
Well, I've never seen a Volkov match. I probably might do at some point, but either way, rest in peace to a legend.
Right?
Brian Christopher, Brian Lawler, however you want to call him, Grandmaster Sexay from one half of Too Cool,
Ah,
unfortunately committed suicide earlier this week and has now passed away. It's very unfortunate. Yeah, I believe he was in prison for a DUI, and can't really say why he committed suicide, but it is very unfortunate that he did. Too Cool is a more recent memory for people, so it really affected a lot of different people. I don't know if you were particularly into the Attitude Era Too Cool tag team.
man, Too Cool was one of my favorite tag teams, and until a few years ago, I didn't realize they were white. I thought they were black. I thought they were just very light skinned black people.
Oh dear. Well, they were black in their hearts. That's the
Too,
important thing.
Too, Too Cool was one of my favorite tag teams as a kid. Like Dudley Boys, Hardy Boys, Too Cool, Edge and Christian.
Yeah.
Like they
Scotty
were
Too
they were
Hotly.
higher than his one was perfect. I always love putting that on my dudes in wrestling video games just because of Scotty Too Hotty.
Yeah, yeah, and they had the thing going with Rikishi and everything, and they turned Rikishi into a legend. So
Hell, his fucking name to me was so damn cool, and it threw me off when I heard a Migos song, and the song's called Too Hotty. They bring up Scotty Too Hotty in it. Too Cool was my life when I was a kid, man. The glasses when they
yeah,
went like that, then they did the dance. You look fat today. I loved all that shit. Grandmaster Sexay with the
yeah, man.
goggles.
Exactly. They had the definite look. They're probably one of the most popular tag teams of that era. Like they didn't really win much from what I remember, but they were definitely the most popular. So that definitely counts for something.
I think they were tag champs maybe once or twice with the two of them. I know more so it was Scotty and Rikishi.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Like
still, I think they at least won it once or twice. But I always liked Grandmaster Sexay and Scotty Too Hattie.
yeah,
Hell, Grandmaster
definitely.
Sexay was a cool name.
Remember when they came back to fight the Ascension in NXT?
I really do. That was awesome.
The first legitimate contenders for the Ascension's NXT Tag Team Championships were Too Cool.
And I loved
That
every
is,
second of it.
I know, right? Well, I shat on it at the time, but looking back on it, that's kind of funny, especially
I didn't.
considering where the Ascension are now.
It hurts me where the Ascension is now. I like those guys, but
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's an investigation into his death and all of that stuff, but we can only hope that time heals all wounds, basically. So rest in peace, Brian Christopher and Nikolai Volkov. Very sad.
Turn it up. Banging it, banging it, banging it, banging it.
Why can't you just turn it up? One of my favorite tag team themes. It's so good.
Man, I like the original one, even though I can't ever find that song anywhere. It's called "You Look Fly Today," but I can't find it to download anywhere.
Right, it's one of those rare ones. Yeah,
like I heard that song on an episode of Kenan and Kel a few years ago, and I was like, "Wait a minute, what?" Like that song and the Hardy Boys, their original theme song, the Hardy Boys, that do 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 do. I saw that shit on a scooter
which they're still using today, weirdly, for Jeff.
I saw that commercial.
Like they're still using that theme for Jeff, I'm pretty sure. Like now.
They need to use No More Worries for Jeff Hardy. That was his best theme song. But that song's called Loaded, and I saw that shit on a scooter commercial. I was like, wait, this is just generic 90s music?
Mm-hmm. Definitely. It's stock music. Like, it's been on loads of different TV shows. But, yeah. But, yeah, you know, very sad news.
There's never going to be a Too Cool reunion, man. Damn.
Well, we can all go back and binge on that. But I think we should maybe round off today with one more bit of news very quickly. You'll probably see it in the title, being like, yeah, I haven't talked about that yet. Well, we're doing it now. We have got Shinsuke Nakamura. Apparently, his WWE deal expires in a few months, and New Japan wants him back.
Ooh.
What do we think of this?
I don't want Shinsuke to leave. I really don't.
I am in two minds about it, because on one hand, he stays in WWE, and he continues to be booked in the mid-card when he's clearly a main eventer. But won the Royal Rumble, by the way, and now he's United States champion.
Yeah.
How did that work? Oh, wait, it doesn't. Has that ever fucking happened to a Rumble winner before? Has there ever been like a weirdly harder fall from grace?
I don't think so. I think Rumble winners have either stayed in the main event picture for longer than, you know, just the 2 months he was in, or they just completely fall off and don't win any belts. Yeah,
exactly. Like he's in that weird middle ground where he's winning the United States Championship for what reason? Oh, because you don't want to give him the main championship for what reason?
And it just keeps kicking everybody in the dick.
Yeah, that happened for several months.
Undertaker kicked people in the dick. He low blows and punches. Yeah. He uppercuts. Well, hits with uppercuts, as I call them.
One of the best wrestlers in the world. What is his finishing move? Great. Fucking fantastic. So, yeah, as much as Shinsuke being in WWE is a cool thing, they clearly don't book him the way people would like to see him booked.
Like he should be.
Like he should be. I didn't want to say like he should be because everyone has different opinions, but I think Shinsuke should definitely be a world champion in WWE. Like, I don't think that's a controversial thing to say.
His NXT run was great until they had him fight Samoa Joe too many times, but
yeah,
Finn Balor
weird belt swapping thing was a bit odd.
Too much.
Yeah, but on the other hand, he leaves WWE, goes back to New Japan. Cool, because New Japan is now getting more exposure in this part of the world, and they're working on their English content, so he wouldn't be completely gone and out of the way. He wouldn't be going to like some bumfuck indie in the middle of Mexico or anything. He's going to be in like probably the second most popular wrestling product in the world.
Right.
So he's not going anywhere per se. But the only problem that is presented with that is Shinsuke is in like the twilight years of his career, dare I say, because he's been performing for so fucking long and he's getting so fucking old and he's been doing strong style for fucking ever. So he's now just basically an old man in young man's clothing. But
yeah, that weirded me out when I found out he's like what, 41 or something.
Yeah,
like he's pretty old.
40s. Pretty old, as it goes. Damn. Especially considering the wear and tear on his body over the years. He did MMA as well. Like, dude's not a sprightly young spring chicken anymore.
He constantly stomps the fucking floor and everything. That's insane to me. That's got to fuck up his knee at some point.
Yeah, it probably does. So,
yeah,
the idea of him being back in New Japan, a place where everyone goes 110% of the time, and he's competing with all of these new faces that have come up since he left like 2.5 years ago, it just doesn't seem like the best idea. Whereas he could stay in WWE, be comfortable. Oh, apparently he's 38, according to Alex King, which isn't even that old. It's still younger than Cena, younger than Brock, same age as Daniel Bryan, I think. But I mean, look at Daniel Bryan, for fuck's sake. He's not like spring chicken at all, is he? But
no.
Point being, he could be in WWE, he could remain there, he could get the new money, he could do all of that, and it would be fine. It just depends on what we want to see from him, really.
I want to see him become at least a 3-time world champion. That's it.
He's more likely to do that in WWE than he is in New Japan at any point. Because the way they treat their top belt is completely different.
Yeah, they don't let the belt switch unless it's absolutely 100% perfect and necessary, from what I understand.
And even then, sometimes they don't. Even then, they just keep it on one guy.
Yeah. Like, it doesn't hot potato all the time. The WWE belts, they hop from one person to the other. Not.
I mean, Okada just had it for over 700 days. Like,
yeah, that's justified.
That's longer than Asuka had for Women's Championship, which is the longest championship reign in modern WWE history. So, you know, maybe a bit of a big deal. And Nakamura is not getting it, put it that way. Like, he would definitely be, like, what WWE would consider an old-timer, where he puts over other people. He wouldn't win the IWGP Heavyweight title. He would maybe get the Intercontinental belt back, which Chris Jericho has for some reason, but...
Wait, Jericho has that?
Yeah, he beat fucking Tetsuya Naito at the last New Japan event. So he's now the Intercontinental Champion.
So he's finally a 9-time Intercontinental Champion. Yay! Technically.
It's a different belt.
Technically, though, in name.
Yeah, and he hasn't shown up in New Japan with it at all yet, so we don't know what the plan is with him, but he has it.
Belt or something.
No, I think it's because it helps with their Western expansion, like all of that stuff.
Sense. Yeah, it's like, oh hey, we know
Chris Jericho. Everyone knows Chris Jericho. Everyone knows Kenny Omega. Everyone knows the Young Bucks. People in the West eat that shit up. So I have a feeling that's what they'll do. I mean, hey, even Troy in the chat says just one time will be good for me, assuming he wins the WWE title just once. Yeah, I'll take that. Like, that's what I think Shinsuke should stay in WWE. And, well, with WWE, it's never a guarantee how long you're champion for. You could be, like, the most over guy in the world and have it for about 30 days. Or you could be Jinder Mahal. You could be Jinder Mahal and have it for, like, 200 and something days.
Or you could be like Sasha Banks, win it 5 times, but never successfully defend it. Ever.
Yeah. So really, what are those championship wins even worth to begin with?
It's almost as if they're just number stacking.
It's almost as if the WWE has a fucking boner for numbers. No reason at all. Like, oh, there's been this long since she's been pinned, or she hasn't done this in this amount of days. They just have numbers for the sake of numbers.
Yeah, I'm surprised they don't have a, oh snap, Brock Lesnar sweated this many gallons of sweat in his entire WWE career.
No one has ever done that ever. Brock is the greatest.
The only person that's close enough to him is the Big Show. We count Rikishi, but that's just baby oil.
It's so bad. But yeah, I think that's all of the news we have to cover, unless there's anything that I'm forgetting about.
Nah, nothing I can think of.
Oh, wonderful. That's been a bit of a news coverage from the Suplah. We hope you've had a wonderful time here today. We might have Andy back next week. We don't know. He's just moved into a new place with Keelan, Suplah City Hall 3.0, plus some random dude who's also there, but we ignore that part. He could be back next week. He has no internet for now, but we could see him. We could maybe see Liam. We could maybe see Carmine. You'll never know. You probably won't see Keelan, because... Oh, fuck it, right? You probably
Find
see
out
me
on the next Dragon Ball Z.
Dun, 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 I don't remember how it goes. So, that has been the Suplah. You can find us on Facebook, you can find us on Twitter, and we have a website, suplah.com. I think that's pretty much it. So, until the next time.
Off of Redbubble.
Ah, thank you. Michelle has saved me. Redbubble.com/people/the Suplah. You can go there and you can buy shirts with all of the shit on it, and you could maybe look about maybe 10% cooler.
See, it's a whole 35% more cooler.
That's with Brendan's shirts. That's just 35% with Brendan. If it's mine, it's about 20. If it's Liam's, it's about 30. If it's about Andy, it's like -5. But
Yeah, you
whatever you're
owe
into,
coolness if you buy Andy
you
stuff.
owe coolness back if you buy a Derek Club shirt, which you can buy if you want. I don't know why you would, but you can go and get that if you want it. So, I have been Sam Brooks.
And I've been Super Brendan. I'm
And we will
sticking with
see you
that because the
next
shirt.
time. Super Brandon. Oh, yeah, I forgot that. So, you gotta fly away now, right? As Superman flies away?
Well, now see, I'm Superboy. Superboy can't fly. He just jumps very high.
Of course. Goodbye, everybody.
Deuces.